Here's your help video for quiz 2.06. So the first question, which reason should appear in the box labeled 1? Alright, so here's our box labeled 1. And I went ahead and color coded what we were given. It just makes it a little bit easier for me to see. So the yellow angle equals 20 and the green angle equals 15. We're given that information. Alright, so then in this spot it says the measure of angle BAD, which is, I haven't highlighted that yet, but that's the whole angle, that's the big angle, equals the measure of BAC, the yellow, plus the measure of CAD, the green. So we're adding the two smaller angles together to get the bigger angle. That's called the angle addition postulate. None of these others would make sense. Angle congruence postulate says that they have to be congruent, and we know one's 20 and one's 15. Linear pair says that two angles form a straight line, so that's not it. And the ruler postulate just says that you can count the length or measure the length. Okay, let's check out the next one. Which statement best represents the information that should be in box labeled 1? So again, we're trying to fill in this box right here. So this is a flow chart. You always have to go back to the box previous to it or to what you're given. So notice here we're given angle AB is congruent to, segment AB is congruent to segment BC. And then the justification for this box says the segment congruent postulate. Well, you need to know that the segment congruent postulate tells you that if segments are congruent, they are also equal. So we can say that segment AB equals segment BC because of the segment congruent postulate. So that should be our answer. Alright, so in this one we want to fill in these two blanks. So again, it's a flow chart proof. So let's start from the beginning and go in order. Alright, so we started off with AC. We're given segment AC. Alright, and then it says angle ABD. Let me highlight these. ABD is the green one. And DBC, that's the yellow one. It tells us that that is a linear pair because of the definition of a linear pair. Two angles that form a straight line, they are a linear pair. So we can see that these two angles are a linear pair. Then it says angle ABD and BCD are supplementary angles. So we have to ask ourselves, what reason justifies that those are supplementary angles? And it has to go back to the fact, the one right above it, that it's a linear pair. If any two angles are a linear pair, we can use the linear pair postulate to say that they are supplementary. So this one would be the linear pair postulate. All right, and then let's go to the next step. Then it says that the measure of angle ABD, the green angle, plus the yellow angle equals 180 degrees. So we ask ourselves, okay, how did we get from this step to this step? Well, if we know they're supplementary, we know they have to add up to 180 degrees because that is the definition of supplementary angles, is that they add to 180 degrees. So those should be our two answers. And you just gotta have to go step by step. Make sure you follow the proof. Don't try to just skip straight to this blank and figure out just this blank. You need to look at what happened previous to that. Alright, so again, we're going to fill in some blanks. So let's check out what we're given. We're given angle ABC and CBD are complementary angles. So I'm going to stop right there, and I'm going to make myself a note that those two angles have to add to 90 degrees. And then the measure of angle ABC, let me go ahead and highlight that one. So this yellow angle is 25 degrees. And we're trying to prove that CBD is 65. So that's our goal, is to prove that this is 65. I'm just going to put a question mark there though because we haven't proved it yet. Okay, so it says it is given that ABC and CBD are blank. Well, you just go back up to what it says it's given, and it says that they're complementary angles. So that's what's going to go in that first blank. We're given that they're complementary angles. And then it says, oops, didn't mean to do that, I meant to move this. Well, maybe I can't. There we go. Get that out of the way. All right. And then it says, so the measure of ABC plus the measure of CBD has to equal 90 degrees. Well, remember, we have to base it on what we just said. We just said that they're complementary angles. So we can add them up and set them equal to 90 using the definition of complementary angles. And then it is also given that the measure of ABC is 25. Using the substitution property of equality, you have blank plus CBD equals 90. Well, remember, we have to go back to the previous step. So this was the previous step. And notice that instead of writing ABC, they want to use substitution. So we're going to plug in what ABC equals. So this should be 25 degrees. And then they finished out the proof. So those are your answers. All right, last one. Given triangle PQR with the measure of angle P being 2x, the measure of angle Q being 4x, and the measure of angle R being 6x, prove that x equals 15. All right, so let's start at the beginning. By the triangle sum theorem, the sum of the angles in a triangle is equal to 180. Therefore, the measure of angle P plus the measure of angle Q plus the measure of angle R equals 180 using the blank 2x plus 4x plus 6x equals 180. So we're trying to figure out this blank, but we got to go back to what we previously had. We previously had P plus Q plus R, and now we have 2x plus 4x plus 6x. So they substituted in the values of each of these. So that would be using the substitution property. We substituted those in. And then they simplified the equation to get 12x equals 180. Finally, using the division property of equality, we get something. So we would just take and divide this. Oops. So divide 180 divided by 12, and we get that x equals 15. So that would be our final answer, which is good because that's what we were trying to prove. All right, good luck on your quiz.